Okay, exactly 8 o'clock. We can start our class. So a very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the number. Today is the 23rd December 2021, Thursday class. After today's class, we will have a break for the year-end, Christmas and English New Year. We will only start back, I think, first week of January. We see which day is appropriate. Very likely is 3rd. Okay. Now we will, as usual, continue from the sharing from this book, the wonderful Dharma Lotus Flower Sutra. We are at page 65 for the hard copy, and soft copy is page 38. So, as usual, we are off the light, and we will have our half an hour of awareness-based meditation to develop the stable awareness within. Then with that, we can meditate. So remember the 4 support for awareness-based meditation. Relax completely, body and mind. Just let things be. Don't try to know, don't try to do anything. Just relax and maintain awareness. Then stabilize the awareness. Whatever arises, let it arise. Just away, finish. Awareness is before the knowing. So when you are aware, you don't try to know. Don't try to perceive, just aware, finish. Whatever arises, just aware. Contact arises, aware. Consciousness arises, aware, finish. And whatever that goes on within your form and mind, just silence everything and maintain awareness. Just pick up the conscious awareness of that phenomena that arises. And you can do that. Your awareness nature will stabilize. That is your true mind, your silent mind, before the thinking, before the arising of the aggregates of mind, is before the perception from memory come in. Feeling may arise, but it's before you describe the feeling, before you perceive that feeling, before the reaction of mind, before you label it as pleasant or unpleasant or neutral feeling. So that one is all already after the awareness, if you do that. So the mind has these 4 aggregates. They are very powerful. The first aggregate is feeling. When feeling arises, it is actually pure feeling. But because of your habitual tendency, your memory, your views, your opinion, and your conditioning, you have a tendency to label those feelings that arise. That's why people can hardly be aware at the moment of sense contact. Actually, feeling arises, yes, but your feeling cannot be pure feeling because you have delusion, you have craving, you have mental, what they call activity, born of the mind having this conditioning within to label the feeling. So because of that, you cannot be in the state of awareness to be aware. So pure awareness before the knowing, before the perception, before the memory, before the stirring of the mind, the thinking activity, the emotion, that is the true awareness. So the moment all these aggregates of mind, like feeling, perception, activity of mind state arise, you are already no longer with the pure awareness. That's why the Buddha said, in the seeing, there is only the seeing consciousness, no one to see. And that one is the pure consciousness, before the content of consciousness went in, before the views, opinion, conditioning, and memory goes in. So this understanding you will develop if you can develop the stability of mindfulness to see clearly what that true mind is, what that silent mind is. That is how you meditate. Then you will know the difference between the two minds, the thinking mind, the mundane mind, the conditioned arising mind. They are byproduct of your true mind. So this type of awareness-based meditation is very different. It allows you to understand the Dhamma clearly. It allows you to develop real sati or awareness within. So the real sati is mindfulness before the knowing. When you are aware and before you perceive, that is the awareness. But the moment you perceive, the aggregates of mind arise, it becomes a thought. So all this, you will come to understand if you know how to develop this type of meditation. So remember, relax, maintain awareness, stabilize it. Then finally, after you can do it, after you can be in that state of awareness for quite a long while, then use it to develop the meditative experience or training. So the fourth support is actually trust. Trust your true nature to move, to do the meditation without interference from the thought process, from the activity of mind. So there is nothing from the mundane mind or the memory interfering with the awareness nature within. The awareness nature is just away, finished. No, it's nothing. Pure nature. Okay, now I will set the alarm for the 30 minutes of awareness-based meditation so that you can continue with your meditation. Okay, after the 30 minutes, you will hear the alarm. Then I will ring the bell 3 times. Upon hearing the bell, slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. Then try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness that you have developed. These are the mind state that you need to live life, to develop the daily mindfulness, to develop heedfulness, to stabilize your cultivation. Okay. And let us turn to page 65. We will continue from there. For those who have the soft copy, it's page 38. Okay. So we were going through earlier on the 6th type of identity with the Buddha. We have finished the first 5. Now we are going to go through the 6th. So the 6th type of identity is the ultimate identity with the Buddha. Means you are finally developing the perfection to be like the Sammasambuddha. Means you have perfected your 10th perfection and you have fulfilled all the conditions to become Sammasambuddha. So ultimate identity with the Buddha, this one is a final level. To reach this level of ultimate identity with the Buddha, we must plumb the source of the Dhamma. as Sakyamuni Buddha did during that night when sitting beneath the Bodhi tree. He saw the bright star and awakened to the way. At that time, he won ultimate certification and attainment. This is called ultimate identity with the Buddha. For at this time, you have personally certified to the attainment of the basic substance of the Dharma and have truly accomplished Buddhahood. This has been a discussion of the wonderful Dharma according to the 6 levels of identity with the Buddha. The state of the wonderful Dharma cannot be known through deliberation or discrimination. So this part we have gone through. You try to deliberate on it or use your discriminative Monday mind to think about it. As I know amount of thinking and analysis can let you develop the understanding of the truth. Yeah, these are all thought-based activity. But now that one of my disciples is trying to learn the Surangama mantra, he has gotten involved in deliberation and discrimination. So the more he thinks, the less he is able to learn it. So you should actually have that understanding, because the true awareness-based meditation or cultivation is to develop the awareness, to observe, to insight into phenomena, to awaken. It's not through thinking, not through deliberation or discriminative thinking. The more he discriminates, the less he understands it, which is very true. You shouldn't think. So this sentence is very difficult to comprehend. You shouldn't think. Now we discuss this for a while. Is it possible for you not to think? Yeah? A very simple question. In fact, I asked many people before. They just shake their head and say, impossible. I cannot stop my thought. I cannot stop thinking. I say, you can. You have the wisdom, the awareness, and the understanding. Thinking is optional. Thinking is not something that you have to do, because what happened to normal people is they have this mental hindrance. They don't have the spiritual faculties. That's why they become heedless. They think a lot. And their thinking cannot stop because there is ignorance within the mind. So this mundane mind that doesn't understand the truth, that has ignorance, develop mental hindrance. That's how it continuously think. Everything is see, it hear, it smell, it taste, it tactile, feel, or become conscious of. The memory come in, the conditioning come in, the mind stir. Then they get themselves entangled with every sense experience, think a lot. Even when they sleep, they can't have proper sleep. They also think a lot. That's why a lot of people find it very difficult to have good sleep, deep sleep. They finally end up having insomnia. The more they want to sleep, the more active the thought becomes. And when the thought is active, you cannot sleep. So here, when they say you shouldn't think, you will have problem if you don't have the meditative training and understanding. As I read on, you will understand. So the text says you shouldn't think. Then you say, why can't I memorize the Surangama Sutta? Don't think about anything. That's why I say don't try to know, don't do anything. Just simply recite or do. Just silent, aware, recite until the awareness and the mantra become one. So simply recite. Reciting the Surangama Sutra is your job. Don't study the mantra with a discriminative and deliberating mind. Deliberation is what the seven consciousness does. That's why it's called the discriminative consciousness. Oh, sorry, I read again. Deliberation is what the seven consciousness does, because this one is the one that creates the thinking. Then the discrimination is what the sixth consciousness is all about. In Mandarin, they call it phân biệt sinh, means you create duality, you differentiate. The seven consciousness does nothing but deliberate, means concording, thinking, creating views, opinion, and idea, trying to be right and all these things. And the sixth consciousness constantly discriminate. So here, discriminate means phân biệt sinh. You create the duality. This was exactly the problem that Ananda had. Here he was extremely erratic, but had not perfected his strength in the way. The Surangama Sutta says he regretted that from time without beginning, he had been preoccupied with erudition and had not yet perfected his strength in the way. You want to memorize the Surangama Sutra or mantra, you must chase away your mind of deliberation and discrimination. Don't use the conscious mind to study the Buddha Dharma, because the conscious mind is the thinking mind, the mundane mind. Use the true mind. That is what you need to use. The true mind is the silent mind, awareness within. No thought, nothing, no concept, no words. The true mind is just the wonderful Dhamma, which is beyond deliberation, thinking, or thought process. The wonderful Dhamma is wonderful, but few can use it. Long ago, there was an enlightened lay person named Pang. After his enlightenment, he thought, I have passed through lifetime after lifetime, through limitless eons, and only now have I become enlightened. It's a very difficult matter indeed, as to understanding the wonderful Dhamma. That's why he come out with this poem. It's hard. It's hard. It's really, really hard. Like putting seed on the leaves of trees in the yard. The leaf grow every which way, and the seed keep falling off. How much time would it take to cover them with tiny sesame seeds? This is like trying to cultivate and change one's form. They keep popping up every day. You try not to get angry, but something happens to test you out, to see whether or not you will lose your temper. You may decide to quit drinking, and then you should, I read again. You may decide to quit drinking, and then who should arrive but your old drinking buddy? You tell him, I have quit drinking. Just one for old time's sake, the buddy will tell you. And off you go. Then the next day, another friend show up and ask you out for a drink. You went drinking with so and so. He said, how can you refuse to go with me? It's not easy to quit drinking. It's not easy to quit doing anything that is bad for you. In fact, it's as hard to break those old habits bad habits, as it is to put a bushels of sesame seeds one by one neatly on the leaf of a tree. That's what lay person Peng said about the problem. Although lay person Peng had a wife, he was enlightened. His wife was also enlightened, and so were his children, his son and daughter. Hearing him comment in this way, his enlightened wife spoke up and said, "You say it's difficult. I don't see it that way. For me, what I have to say about attaining the wonderful Dharma is easy. It's easy. It's easy as I found. On the tip of every blade of grass is the Patriarch's mind." That's why the way you perceive things determine the outcome. Every blade of grass, every bush and tree, they all reveal the Buddha's mind, sealed Dhamma, and the wonderful meaning of the Patriarch from the West, Bodhidhamma, of the green bamboo and the yellow flowers. None is not prajna. They are all the manifestation of wisdom. So it depends on how you actually perceive a situation. As the Song dynasty poet Sutongpo wrote, "Of the colors of the mountain, none is not the clear, pure body. Of the sound of the stream, none is not the vast, long tongue. The mountain's color are all the immaculate Dhamma, body of the Buddha. The sound of the stream is the vast, long tongue of the Buddha." The Unimitable talks about how the Buddha of the sixth direction each bring forth the appearance of the vast and long tongue. What is not wonderful Dhamma? Every single blade of grass is wonderful Dhamma. What is hard? What is difficult about it? So the two elder punks have opposite views. One say it's easy, the other say it's hard. Then the little girl, Ling Zhao, happened by and offered her view on the matter. It's not easy. It's not hard. I eat when I'm hungry and I sleep when I'm tired. The doctor is even more wise. This shows that the wonderful Dhamma is within all of our daily activity. Eating, wearing clothes, sleeping, all are wonderful Dhamma. True cultivators eat every day, and yet they don't swallow a single grain. All day they wear clothes, but don't wear a single track. Are these two statements self-contradictory? Are they lies? No, they describe a state in which the mind is not attached to, where one looks and yet does not see, listen and yet does not hear, eat and yet does not taste. It is a state of no mind, in which one eats and yet does not eat, wear clothes and yet does not wear clothes, sleeps and yet does not sleep. Although one sleep is the same as waking. Why? Because one is not muddled. When ordinary people sleep, they have confused dream filled with false thought. When enlightened people sleep, they are as clear as they are awake. This is very true. When your awareness is very stable, you can be aware throughout. In China, there was a national master named Yuling who was extremely intelligent. One day, his teacher announced to Yuling and his Dhamma brothers Yu Feng that he would pass on the Dhamma to anyone who could memorize the Dharma flower Sutra in a day and a night. Since Yu Feng slept all day, Yu Ling figured he could surely memorize it first and come out number one. But when he went to his teacher and said, I can recite it, what about my Dhamma brother? His teacher asked or said, he recited it for me last night. This was because Yu Peng's rhyme was like that of Peng's little daughter. Although he appeared to be sleeping, he was actually in samadhi. People who know how to cultivate can enter samadhi sitting, walking, standing, and lying down or reclining. People who don't know how to do the work find every place to be either too busy or too unclean or not suitable for them to develop samadhi or meditation. If your mind is pure, all places are pure. So little girl Pang said, it's not easy, it's not hard. I eat when I'm hungry and I sleep when I'm tired. So accord and flow. It's all a manifestation of the wonderful Dhamma. That's why when you understand, everything is wonderful, no matter how you perceive it. Even at the level of enlightenment, there are different levels of perception or understanding. The seventh consciousness is the consciousness of deliberation. The sixth consciousness of the mundane mind is the consciousness of discrimination. In the Surangama Sutta, the Buddha tells Ananda, when you realize Buddhahood, it is because of your sixth sense organ. If you fall into the lower rank, it's also because of your sixth sense organ. The sixth sense organ plus the sixth sense object plus the corresponding consciousness from the 18th sense rhyme. The 18 rhyme are wonderful Dhamma. They are manifestation of the thus come one storehouse nature. However, this applies when no deliberation or discrimination take place. If there is deliberation and discrimination, one falls into the pit of the mind consciousness. Means you are trapped. If you tell ordinary people not to deliberate, they will deliberate even more. If you tell them not to discriminate, they will discriminate even more. They are unable to concentrate single-mindedly. They are unable to turn their consciousness into wisdom. Wisdom is consciousness transformed. Consciousness turns into wisdom. Wisdom is also form. Wisdom is consciousness transformed. Consciousness turns into wisdom. Wisdom is also a wonderful Dhamma. On the part of living beings, wisdom has turned into consciousness. So this one for living being is like that. Your true nature, which is inherently perfect and pure, but because of the lack of understanding, the deluded first thought of ignorance still, and convert wisdom, the inherent nature, into the primordial darkness, or what we call the mundane mind, thinking mind. So this is how the inherent wisdom, which is pure and perfect, turn into consciousness. Thus the wonderful has become cause. The Buddha has turned consciousness into wisdom, means you reverse all this. And so the cause has become wonderful. The cause is unwonderful. The wonderful is not cause. The Buddha has turned consciousness into wisdom. And so within the pit of the mind ground, they obtain genuine wisdom and certify to the attainment of the wonderful Dhamma. So the discussion of the wonderful Dhamma is never ending, unending. So I may have to explain a bit. when the sutta mentioned wisdom has been turned into mundane consciousness by living being. And also in the Surangama Sutta, the Buddha explained to Ananda, he said the 18th sense right is the same. But for deluded beings that fall into hell, they perceive it wrongly. That's why they get into trouble. Whereas the enlightened one, or the Sammasambuddha, they perceive it with understanding. That's why it can awaken the living beings. So when you understand and awaken, then consciousness reverts back into wisdom. That's what cultivation is all about. When living beings are born, sentient being comes to this conditional world, or this universe of ours. When one takes birth, what happens is the karmically conditioned form of mind arise. And this one is not your true mind, not your true identity, but this one is related to your nature, karmic nature, karmically conditional for you to arise. That's why one has to develop the silent mind to meditate, to understand all this. Then we are not confused. Then we are able to realize that we have another nature which is beyond all this. Then when you use that nature to observe, to meditate, to insight into phenomena, to awaken, you start to understand what is going on. You start to realize the truth. Then through the awakening, you are no longer deluded by the phenomenal world of consciousness. That's how the cultivation has to be done. But what happened to the Buddhist community, to the way most people cultivate, is the opposite. They didn't use the true mind to cultivate. They used the mundane mind, the thinking mind. And everything they do end up thought-based. That's why thought-based meditation cannot awaken the individual. You will be trapped. So thought-based means you use thought. You perceive with your memory. Then you input the content of consciousness, which is based on your memories conditioning, the views and opinions that you accumulated, your belief system, all of your experiences, good and bad, including your phobia, your fear, your insecurity, your whatever emotion. So all this is what the human brain, the human beings, mundane mind and consciousness is all about. That's why when you do all this, you become heedless, Buddha said. That is the meaning of how living being, from the inherent beautiful nature, which is wisdom, complete, fall and become consciousness, mundane consciousness. So this mundane consciousness is filled with deluded content, wrong view, wrong understanding. That's how it conditions wants to discriminate, to stir one's mundane mind. Every moment of consciousness, the mind stirs through habitual tendency, through views, opinion, and conditioning that one developed over long period of attachment, clinging, grasping, born of self-delusion. So this is what happened. To reverse all this is to meditate, to go back to our true mind, to realize that we have another nature within, which is completely silent, without thought, before the thinking, before the stirring. before the mundane mind activity arises. So developing this will give rise to wisdom. That's how we reverse the deluded consciousness and purify it through awakening or wisdom to transform back the polluted or deluded consciousness back into the true mind, the pure mind, with the wisdom connected to the former mind, to realize the awakening, the enlightenment. So this is how you can understand it. Huh? Otherwise, it's not easy. You read the text, it's like the Buddha had turned consciousness into wisdom. Huh? So easy. Then the sentient being or living being has allowed the wisdom to fall and become consciousness. So you are very confused. What is all this? So the explanation that I give you hopefully can let you develop better understanding. In fact, that is what life, existence, and cultivation is all about. If you don't understand this, you don't understand life. You cannot awaken. You cannot develop the understanding to meditate, to awaken. So all this are what they call the wonderful Dhamma. Okay, I will read on. There are 10 wonders of Sakyamuni Buddha's gate of the root, and 10 wonderful or 10 wonders in the gate of the branches. The root gate refers to fundamental enlightenment, and the branches are the residual traces. We could never finish talking about the wonderful Dhamma. That's why the great master Zhi of the Tiantai school spent 90 days lecturing on just the word wonderful. There is the wonder of the relative, the wonder of the absolute, the wonder of specifics, the wonder of principles. The discussion could continue forever. We have said that the wonderful cannot be thought of with the mind or expressed in words. But speaking around and around it, we still don't understand it. Although it is wonderful, we haven't understood it. And so I will tell you another true story to prove the wonder of the wonderful Dhamma. So宣化has a lot of story. There was once a monk who recited the Dhamma Flower Sutta every day. I tried this myself, and in a single day, you can just barely get through the entire 7 rows of Sutta, of the Sutra. As the Sutra said that the merits and virtue obtained by one who copied the Sutra out is inconceivable, the monk decided to write it out, stroke by stroke, word by word. He reverently copied it without making a single mistake. He finished in the middle of the cold Manchurian winter. When he put his brush in the water to rinse it out, the water froze to form a lotus on the brush tip and continued to freeze, forming a larger and larger lotus. Because of that, he gave himself the name, the Ice Lotus Bhikkhu. Where did the Ice Lotus come from? And why did it bloom so big? Many people witnessed this event. It really happened. Or you say it was a wonderful Dhamma? There was another bhikkhu in China who served as an advisor to the emperor. Every day when he left the monastery to go to the court, as soon as he mounted his horse and began reciting the Dhamma Flower Sutta from memory, and by the time he arrived at the palace, he had recited the first row. Suddenly one day, his horse died. At the same moment, a son was born in the house of a lay person, of a layman who lived across from the monastery. When the child was born, his mother had an inconceivable dream. She dreamed the monk's horse came galloping up to her house and ran right into her chest. Just then, she gave birth to the child. Thinking her dream very unusual, she told his relative to go see if the horse was at the monastery. Sure enough, they discovered that the horse had just died. She knew then that the horse has been reborn as his son, and so she sent him to the monastery right away to become a monk. The child was outrageously dense, and no matter how the monk tried, there was no way to teach him to read or write. He couldn't read a single word and simply couldn't be taught. But then one day, a bhikkhu began to teach him the Dhamma Flower Sutra, orally, word by word, and he learned it right away. He learned the entire first row in no time, but couldn't remember any of the second row at all. Why was that? When he was a horse, he had heard the monk recite the first row every day on his way to the court, and so he could remember, because the horse had heard the sutta recited every day. He got reborn as a person, a human being. It is clear that the merits and virtue generated by the Dhamma Flower Sutra is inconceivable. During the Qin dynasty, a similar event took place. In Yunnan, there was a person named Chen Tongyuan, who believed in Kuan Yin Bodhisattva and went to Hsuan in the south of China, in South China Sea, the sacred Bodhi Mandala of Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, to pay reverence to the Kuan Yin or Bodhisattva. After bowing, he noticed a monk reciting the Dhamma Flower Sutra and requested that the monk recite the sutra so that his dead mother might cross over to bliss and leave behind all suffering. The monk did so, and while he was reciting, the powerful ox in the man's house suddenly died. That was nothing in itself, but later that night, the ox came to Chen Tongyuan in a dream and said, "I was your mother, because I created weighty offense through improper speech. I was born as a cow or as an ox. The Dhamma Master's recitation of the sutra has caused me to leave the body of the ox, but unfortunately, I am still suffering because I am now in the hell. Please ask the monk to recite the sutra for me again." Chen Tongyan found the dream very strange, but he went back to Podhosan and asked the monk to recite the sutra again. Although the monk recited the Dhamma Flower Sutra, he liked to have a glass of wine now and then. He was sincere in reciting the sutra, but he had not been able to cope up his fondness of wine, and sometimes he would casually have a drink. Hearing Chen Tongyan's request, he rose early and knelt in front of the Buddha to recite. By the time he reached the fourth row, his throat was parched. There was no tea around, but he noticed he had left his full wine glass on the table. Before finishing the last 3 rows of the sutra, he drank the wine. Chen Tongyan again dreamed of his mother. He dreamed that she came to him again as an ox. She said, "Son, while the first 4 rules of sutra has been recited, a brilliant golden light filled the hell and golden lotus wall up out of the ground. But just as I was about to get out, suddenly the hells were filled with the stench of wine, and so the last 3 rows has no effect. Please ask the Dhamma Master to recite the sutra again." So Chen Tongyuan relate his dream to the monk, who realized that he was deluding himself by thinking that his drinking was a minor offense. Before he drank the wine, his recitation caused golden light to fill the hell. After he drank, there was not even silver light. From then on, he strictly observed precept against taking intoxicant and began cultivating the way in earnest. From the above incident, it is obvious that the Buddha Dhamma or the Dharma Flower Sutra is inconceivable. The wonderful Dhamma is truly wonderful beyond words. Students of the Buddha Dhamma who heard the wonderful advantages attained through recitation of the sutra, such as animals that hears the sutra being reborn as humans, and hungry ghosts that are dwelling in the hell being reborn in the heavens, may decide to take up recitation of the sutra as a form of cultivation. However, be careful not to be self-satisfied and think that because you have recited the sutra, you have acquired merits. If you become arrogant, not only will you gain no merits, you will be wasting your time and will only be planting a very few good roots. Cultivators must never be arrogant or hasty. They must always be courteous and humble. In the Sixth Patriarch Sutta, we read about Bhikkhu Phata, who had recited the Dhamma Flower Sutta over 3,000 times and consequently become arrogant. He went to meet the Sixth Patriarch Huining. When those who have left the home life meet the abbot of the monastery, they should make observance very respectfully, dress in full robe and carry their sitting clothes. However, Bhikkhu Phata, 3,000 sutra recitation got in his way, so that when he bowed, his head didn't touch the ground. The Sixth Patriarch said, "No doubt there is something on your mind." No doubt there is something on your mind. What is on your mind? The Patriarch asked. As bowing is basically a subdued arrogance, why didn't your head touch the ground? Bhikkhu Phata was rather blunt in his reply and said proudly, "I have recited the Dhamma Flower Sutra over 3,000 times. The Sixth Patriarch continued. The mind confused, the Dhamma flower turned it. The enlightened mind turns the Dhamma flower. Reciting the sutra so long without understanding it has put you at odds with its meaning. The Chinese word for turn also means recite, means the pronunciation is the same. When you are clear, although you recite the sutra, when you are unclear, although you recite the sutra, you are turned by it. If you understand, you can truly recite. That is, turn the sutra. Turning the sutra is the wonderful Dhamma. Turning the sutra is wonderful aspect of the unwonderful. Being turned by the sutra is the unwonderful aspect of the wonderful. If you have recited the sutra 3,000 times but do not understand it, you become the sutra's enemy. Originally, your heart and the sutra were one, but now they are divided because you keep thinking, I have recited the sutra over 3,000 times. I have merits. In this way, an obstruction is created. Not understanding the sutra's principle, you have been unable to rid yourself of arrogance. So no matter who you are, if you accumulate merits, do not become arrogant about it. Students of the Buddha Dhamma must be humble and courteous towards everything and never be proud or arrogant. This is very important. I hope that everyone will take note of this point and not just let it go in one ear and out the others. the lotus flower. The concept of the lotus flower is extremely broad, and one could never finish speaking of it. So for now, we will move on with the discussion of the title of the sutra and discuss the next two words, lotus flower, 莲花. The lotus is a most rare flower. It blooms and bears fruits at the same time. When the lotus blooms, the lotus seed appears. When the lotus petal falls, the seeds are already ripe. The lotus takes root in the mud, and its stem grows up through the water. The flower is neither in the mud nor the water, but bloom above the surface of the water. The root in the mud represent common people. The stem in the water represent those of the two vehicles. Common people are attracted to existence. The mud is an analogy of existence. Those of the two vehicles are attached to emptiness. The stem in the water represents emptiness. The lotus flower, which blooms above the water, represents the transcendence of emptiness, and existence, and represents the absolute principles of the middle way, in which there is neither falling into emptiness nor going to the extreme of existence. Emptiness and existence are the two extremes. To be unattached to either of the two extremes is the absolute principle of the middle way. Why do we say that the lotus flower represents the absolute principle of the middle way, the great teachings, perfect and sudden? We say this because the lotus flower was blooming and bearing fruit simultaneously represent the non-duality of cause and effect. The cause itself is the effect, and the effect is also the cause. As the cause is thus is the effect. If the cause planted is one of Buddhahood, the effect will be one of Buddhahood. The lotus blooming and bearing fruit simultaneously also represent the opening of the provisional to manifest the real. The blooming of the lotus represents the opening of the provisional teaching. The lotus seed which are revealed when the lotus blooms represent the real Dhamma. Provisional Dhamma refers to expedient devices, and real Dhamma is the genuine, non-false Dhamma, the principle of the real monk. Why did the Buddha appear in the world? It was for the sake of teaching all sentient beings, all living beings, to become enlightened and to liberate themselves from birth and death. The Buddha appeared in the world because of the problems of living beings, birth and death. So the sutras say the Buddha appeared in the world for the reason of one great matter. The great matter is the problem of living beings, birth and death. That's why this problem of birth and death, you need to truly understand it. 生死. That's why if you want to develop meditation to become enlightened, you have to transcend birth and death, 了生死 in the Mahayana tradition, the Mandarin explanation, 了生死. But someone might object, everyone is born and they die. Why make such an issue of it? You are quite right, everyone is born and everyone must die. This is a matter of course. Birth and death are the most natural and democratic events in the world. However, although everyone is born and die, birth, death, birth, death and rebirth again, ultimately, what use is it? Ultimately, what advantage does it have? The Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi spoke with sound principle when he said, "My life has a limit, but knowledge is unlimited. To pursue the unlimited with that which is limited is dangerous indeed," he said. "My life has a limit, but knowledge has no limit. To study endless knowledge with one's finite life is futile. It cannot be done." However, Zhuangzi only knew half the story. He didn't see the full picture. He knew that life has an end, but he didn't know that when it is over, there is rebirth and another beginning. When one life ends, another one begins. This is like the method for collecting toll on the Golden Gate Bridge. Toll collectors used to collect from the cars as they came and went. Only later did they realize that anyone who left the city are likely to return, and that they could save time and energy by simply doubling the toll and collecting only from incoming traffic. Zhuangzi understood the road out, but does not understand the road back. Human life is a round trip affair. When you leave, you always return. If you understand how you were born, you will be able to understand the problem of death. If you do not understand how you were born, you will not understand the problem of death. Coming, you will be muddled. Going, you will be muddled. Coming, you will not understand. Going, you will not understand. In the Confucian Analects, we read, Zulu asks, how to serve ghosts and spirit. The master say, until you know how to serve people, how can you serve ghosts? Zulu then say, I venture to ask about the dead. And the master replied, until you know about the living, how can you know about the dead? So Zulu say, I realize I am being rather bold, but may I ask about how one dies? What is the flavor of death? What is it like? Actually, Zulu was just trying to make trouble. Confucius haven't died yet. Why ask him about death? No doubt Confucius was old and certainly afraid of death. And so he said, if you don't know how to live, how can you know how to die? This proved that Confucius did not want to die either. He still retained the mark of a lifespan. And so he lived to be over 70. But he meant by his answer was, however you were born, that is how you will die. He then asked, how are we born? Okay, before I continue, maybe I share this part with you. What my teacher shared was the opposite of what is mentioned here. Because what is mentioned here is you must know how to live before you know how to die. My teacher, Ajahn Hsuan, he said the opposite, which is very beautiful, which I like. He said, you must know how to die before you die. That is the difficult part. Before you die, how can you know how to die before you die? It's just like Hongzi, they all say, if you don't even understand what living is, you will not understand how to die or what death is. But those who have wisdom, they will understand what death is when you have already awakened. Actually, nothing died. That's why I say you must know how to die. It means die of your attachment, die of all the defilements. That way you have no more attachment, no more defilement, no more delusion. Then you know how to die. Yeah. And when you know how to die before you die, you actually will know how to die. Yeah. So dying is not what you think. Actually, no one dies. Because basically, no one born. So no one born, how can anyone die? He know you, he know me. So this part is more interesting, I find. Yeah? But anyway, we see what宣化and the Sutta have to say. Yeah? I will read on a bit more. Now we will get down to the basic problem, and everyone should pay close attention. People are born because of emotion and sexual desire, and they die because of emotion and sexual desire. Actually, here is referring to craving. If you have no emotion and sexual desire, then you do not undergo birth and death. Therefore, the problem of birth and death arises because of thoughts of sexual desire. If you severe thought of sexual desire, you will then end birth and death. However, Zilu didn't understand the problem, and Confucius didn't bring it up. He just skirted the issue, saying, you don't know how to live, how can you know how to die? But I will tell you all now that birth and death is a very important problem. The Buddha appeared in the world simply because of the problems of living beings, birth and death. Speaking of the problem of birth and death, I am reminded of a story. I've told this story before, but I will tell it again so you can get a fuller taste of it. Like when you try a certain kind of food for a second time. Yeah. Okay, we have to stop here already. 9:45 already. Okay, we will mark this page. We will continue next year. Next year. Yeah, today is our last sharing for the year 2021. After this, we will break until after the new year. So page 80. Yeah, page 80. Whereas the soft copy is page 47. So we will stop here for meditation reporting, Q&A, and also Dhamma sharing. Okay, you all can just on your mic or show your hand sign incoming. Anybody? Yes, God Luna. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Brother Teo.
Yes, Sadhu. Yeah.
And Mrs. Teo.
Yeah.
And fellow Calamitas, how are you?
Good.
It's been a while since I last do my sharing.
Yeah.
I hope all is well and happy.
Yeah, hopefully, because of the pandemic and the flood, I think so far so good, Kayamita.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of anybody within the Kayamita who are affected yet, which is good news.
Yes.
Mm.
I would like to do a sharing on Dharma.
Oh, Sadhu, very good.
In my work and in my life.
Sadhu, that's very interesting, very helpful.
Yeah. And I would like to go back to almost about, I think 1 year ago, in the month of October, I did a sharing.
Sadhu.
In which I was assigned to a new project site, construction site.
Yes.
Yeah, and that construction site was in distress.
Yeah. A very difficult project with a lot of problems.
Yeah. And in that sharing last year, I did mention I was also had to go in to manage the team. That was actually all working in silo. Yeah. And actually, looking back right now, I'm actually very grateful because after the sharing, I remember the fellow Kalamitas also gave support.
Yeah.
And I remember one of them was Sister Poching.
Yes.
In which she also messaged me, and hopefully everything
will be fine.
be able to complete successfully.
Yeah, sadhu.
So I'm also very grateful to all fellow Kayamitas for all their support at that time.
Yes.
Because going through this year, when I look back, it's actually easier to connect the dots backwards while going through at that time. Well, there's a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
And most of them sometimes causes the mind or my mind to flare up.
Yes. It gives rise to a lot of understanding too after that.
Yes.
Then it really put you through to the test.
And lucky through also listening to the Dharma and also all the sharings.
Yeah.
And I was also able to start with I think the first one, which is also the Noble Eightfold Path, the right view first.
That one is most important.
Because without that, I don't think I will be able to handle.
You can't solve your problem. Well, that is the only understanding to solve all human problems or worldly problems. The Noble Eightfold Path is the meditative answer to all problems, because it is the path that leads to the eradication of all suffering. The Buddha, under the Fourth Noble Truth, proclaimed it very clearly. If you cultivate this Noble Eightfold Path, then it will lead to the end of all suffering. This is what we need to live life, to develop the understanding of life, so that we act according to Noble Eightfold Path, which is the Dhamma way, the wisdom way. That's how we solve our problem. Very good, Alan. Yeah, you apply it very well. Sadhu.
So with the right will, the right thought, also the right speech,
right action,
it has helped me to be able to solve the problem one by one.
Amicably resolve it one by one and move on.
And also with the right view, it has also helped me to see the problem as not only the situation, but from bird's eye view.
Yeah, correct, Sadhu.
And when my mind doesn't stir so much, I actually more calm. Then I can think with clarity and act with wisdom.
Yeah, correct, Sadhu.
And that is very important, acting with wisdom.
Very important. Well, most people don't know how to act. They panic first, then they worry. And that one will actually paralyze their ability to act, because no amount of fear, worry, and anxiety can solve your problem or can make your mind have the ability to understand what is going on, then from there to act. That's why the art of meditative training is very important in this sense. That's why when you have Noble Eightfold Path, it guides you on how to do it. First is the right view, like you say. When you have right view, you can accept what happened. No more like last time. Most people without right view, they will panic, worry, and get angry, then blame people. Sometimes they blame themselves too, remorse and all that. And this one will make the matter worse, because when you cannot accept the reality for what it is, means you don't have right view. You don't know that most of these are karmic, based on your delusion, your wrong view, your selfishness, your ignorance, your fear, your insecurity. So all this is going to prevent you from understanding and taking action. But if you have right view to accept, means you don't react, you don't stir your mind, you are calm, you are at peace, like what you realize and how you have actually applied it, which is very good. Then from there, you see things clearly. There is no negativity or fear, emotion, and all those things. Then you can act. You act following the other path factor. From right view, you arise the right thought. No more negative thought. Then right speech, right action, right livelihood, and the constant right effort to improve, to purify, to refine, to develop understanding, and to resolve things amicably. So all these are the positive plus factor for living beings to actually live life, to overcome their life situation and problem. That's how you can actually do it well, Colin, for your case. So sadhu to you. You can continue now.
And I think one of the most important tips which I've also learned from the sharing, and also especially shared by Brother Sung, was be with it. Because I remember there was one time in my site where there were a lot of people who got infected.
Correct.
We had to go and manage.
Yeah.
Actually, the first thing that came out was a fear.
Yeah. So you
a lot
stay
of
with the fear. That's how you overcome it. When you are with the fear subsides.
Yes,
then you come to know fear is dependent originating. And fear is very negative, the energy, very eerie. It will break you down, cause the immune system to go down. But once you are able to be with it and it ceases, then your true mind come back, sati come back. The mind that is not agitated without the emotion and the fear come back, the true mind. That's why you can be at peace. Then that silence within, that is the energy. We call it the pure energy from our nature. And that one can actually help you turn around, recuperate, and become beautiful. Then the understanding will fall into place, and it will give you that energy to actually move and resolve everything amicably, beautifully, and solve your whatever problem and situation. That's why you are able to do very well. Sadhu to you.
Of course, the next thing is also we also ask for guidance, blessing, and protection.
From Triple
for
Gem.
Triple Gem, and also the great beings.
Great beings,
And luckily, we were all actually very lucky. We are all, I think, blessed and guided. Walk through that path, persevere through, and with patience to continuously until the end. We completed the project.
Ahead of schedule,
Actually, we completed on time in the end of November. And then 1 month later, which is the continuous inspection by the architect, and he finally gave us the practical
CPC, surgical practical completion.
So we just passed the line.
Which is very good. Because it was already originally delayed. And having a lot of problem, but for you all to actually catch up and did it so well, it's really not easy. Normal
it's
people
also
would have
a lot of work by the team. The entire team.
It's a team effort based on your guidance, because without the proper guidance from the leadership, this thing cannot happen.
From the foreign workers to our supervisors to engineers to managers. And also working with the consultants and also our client. It's all a whole team.
Yes, the whole team is a collective team effort.
And
very good.
Actually, towards the end, we are all contract based. We are all contract based. And
no
our
problem.
contract was until end of the year only. Some of them are until September or October.
Oh, okay.
So at that point, many of my colleagues were also going through a lot of fear.
A
lot of fear because natural ma.
Natural
when they come to an unknown, they are not
fear of the unknown.
told whether they are renewed or not.
Yes.
Uncertainty. So they have a lot of fear. So I also share with them, don't worry. We don't. First thing what we do is we don't do evil. And we do good for the project. Just focus. Do good for the project. And when we do good things will come back to us. Just have faith. I tell them that. I don't know why I say that, but I just tell them that.
Well, you have the understanding. They will understand. Well, when you have faith, when you believe in the Dhamma way, then everything will fall into place. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. And things will turn for the better because of your virtue, your wholesomeness, your truthfulness. your sincerity. Then when you act accordingly, you actually will reap the fruit of your virtue, sincerity, and whatever wholesomeness. Very good.
And naturally, actually quite normal lah. Most people will, of course, my contract not renew. Why I still want to work so hard? Normally, people
that is what the thinking mind will actually react or respond. But this is not the way, because if you do that, you become negative.
Yeah.
Your mind state become negative.
So after I share with them, I also quite surprised. I think all of them, they also work. I think they are with the whole heart.
Yeah, wholeheartedly.
Completely,
Correct. Sadhu. Which was very good.
And finally, actually, because we're all going through tough times, and our boss is also not. It's not easy for the boss.
Yeah.
And I also explained to them, actually, to be honest, I'm also very grateful to what the boss has done to us over the past few years. Even though no matter how tough, they still pay us on time.
Yeah. That
so
is
I think we have
a
a good
blessing.
boss, I said.
Yes, that is always a blessing. Very few bosses can endure.
Yeah, and true enough when we finished, we got the CPC. He renewed all of us.
Wow, sadhu.
All of us. But at least we got the whole team all renewed
Yeah.
So
wow, that is really a great news. Blessing.
But at that time, can you imagine what they are going through?
Yeah,
and what we
the
have to,
fear,
yeah,
the uncertainty, and all those things. It's human nature, but luckily they have your advice, and that one makes a big difference. Then now they see the result because of their sincerity, and they wholeheartedly commit themselves, and they were able to complete the project on time and deliver. The management will review. Well, these are good workers, staff, team that you should try to maintain, because when the pandemic turn around, which I think people can see, things are slowly turning around. So you all can get project from now onward. I think the project will be so much better than last time, because most of the cost of raw material has already gone up. So it has more or less plateau. After this, I don't think there will be any more surge, because most of it has gone up. So for new job, I think you all will have better work margin. So all this, I think the management also knew and take into consideration. Earlier on, I was told there was no job. You told me there was no job. That's why that was about a month ago, I think. Then you say cannot blame them. Yeah, no job. How can they continue to sustain the people? But I think they must have developed more understanding and confidence. That's why they willing to renew all the whole project team's contract. And this is good news. So sadhu to you, rejoice, and your whole team. Well done.
I come back to what I want to share is I'm very grateful for the lesson, and I think the right view, the right thought,
the noble info power,
right speeches, and the right action has helped me to go through this and to handle this. And I think while doing the work, I think sometimes when I do meditation, sitting down or sleeping, actually working is also a form of meditation.
Yes,
in which I can somehow, I cannot explain why, but I can naturally act with wisdom sometimes. I also don't know why. I don't know why I say the things that I say, but those, when I think back, and if my mind was stir up, I won't be able to see so clearly or act with
definitely.
wisdom. So
because all these years of actually cultivation, where you listen attentively, you have faith, and you apply it. That's how you benefited from it, and your faith drives you, and your mind that has already taken that understanding in, Then you make all the vows, the Bodhisattva vows and all those things. All this have very powerful effect on your mind state, your nature, and the way you actually do things. And because of that, the Dhamma way will give rise to the appropriate friction. The friction that comes from it, you see for yourself that your life has changed. It has become so different. Everything can be resolved. You no longer have to panic, develop the fear, worry, anxiety, and act heedlessly and negatively like most people or before when you don't have the Dhamma. So all these are gone. And you can even witness a lot of the positive turnaround when you make aspiration, when you have the good mind state. So this is what Dhamma is all about. So sadhu to you, congratulations for the good.
And one more part is I realize a bit more. I can be a bit, or how to say, a bit more sensitive.
Yeah.
To the surrounding,
correct,
and the signals and signs.
correct.
Sometimes I can see, this thing is gonna happen.
Yeah,
Then
sadhu.
truly enough, it happened.
Yeah, because
Maybe,
this is
maybe
what
something bad or maybe something
yeah,
good.
this is what Dhamma is all about. It makes you sensitive. You can sense things because your nature can sense and you know something is coming. That's why you can see sign later on. Then you can know what to do.
Yeah, not panic lah. That time not panic. This one I know it's gonna
you no
happen.
longer
This
panic.
guy's gonna do this. Then
Correct,
don't panic. Then
correct.
next step, next step.
Yes, yes, yes. And you can have the ability to be sensitive because of the mindfulness, the awareness, and the Dhamma inside. Then all this will start to develop and it become more and more stable. Then you become more and more confident in what you do. Then your faith become very strong. Then you know this is the way. And it will drive you and turn all this spiritual faculty into very stable spiritual faculty until it's unshakable balance. And then you move to the next level. Then your cultivation become very different again. Sadhu to you, Colin. Very good.
I would like to take this opportunity also to thank you, Brother Teo, Mrs. Teo, Brother Chin Hao and T, Sister Tracy, especially all the Karamitas who have done all their good sharing. I have learned so much. I do listen to all the recording. Sometimes I may miss out a lot, especially the past 4 months.
But no problem. It's all recorded. You can slowly listen to them.
And sometimes my meditation or cultivation, for example, spiritual ritual, not so consistent. I just come back and continue.
Yeah, no
sometimes
problem.
Because of work, sometimes.
Correct. That's why you accord and flow. Sometimes because of work, you have to focus on your career first. Then while you do your career, you apply the Dhamma. That's why you are already in that meditative state. Like just now you mentioned, you share. Now you can relate to real life meditation in life itself. When you are in the midst of working, going through life, you can be in the meditative state and you have seen the possibility of it. That's why all this will become possible. And later on, it becomes like very natural. Right? Throughout the day, you are aware, mindful, and like automatic. As it stabilizes, it becomes very beautiful. I remember in the year 1988, 89. Wow, the body and mind become one. That's why after that, my daily mindfulness is very stable. Then every moment, every instant, I'm in the state of sati, awareness. Then I meditate a lot that time throughout the day. My religious routine, my vow, everything just smoothly fall into place. Then it show it to you, all the beautiful transformation happening, the Dhamma. That's how my nature understand. That's how all this Dhamma become clear and the nature awakens. Then after that, it becomes so beautiful. Then life itself become very wonderful. So after
And
this, you will slowly see all this happening.
And sometimes I'm not so consistent, but at least right now I am aware that I'm heedless sometimes.
Yeah, no problem. That is the beginning of understanding. When you are able to be aware that you are not able to throughout the day aware, then you know it's because of something else. Sometimes it's because of
not like last time. The whole time heedless also don't know.
Yeah. So
now at least I
different.
heedless, but a short walk. Then relax.
Yeah. The awareness of inattention is attention itself. Then, like your duty as a father, as a family man, as a engineer when you are at work. So all this duty, you become very clear. Then you know how to do them. Then when you are reminded of your inability to cultivate full time, is because you still have your duties. So never mind, do your duties. Then later on, like I say, as your understanding stabilize, your daily mindfulness stabilize, because based on what you report, your mind having the sensitivity to feel and sense all this means you are stabilizing it already. You will be able to actually move on to the next stage, which is the stability of daily mindfulness. Then you can develop the cultivation in the midst of life. Then even while you are working, your schedule very tight or what, you just have to rest 5-10 minutes or sometimes 15 minutes. You recuperate and recover very well, and then you can do things very fast, very efficient, because there is clarity, and you don't go and waste energy on the fear, the worry, the panic, and how to say, because that clarity of mind actually gives rise to efficiency. Then you can see clearly. You can resolve things smoothly, orderly, one by one. And you will realize this is a lot more efficient than people who panic and worry and try to do their best to finish things, but they find that like too many things they cannot resolve. Don't, if you do that, you will get trapped in the what they call heedless way of managing things. If you do it with the Dharma way, nobody for power, even though you resolve one by one, you may think that you are not doing fast enough. No, you write down all those things. Then you prioritize. Then one by one you clear. As long as you clear, you will find your work clear out very fast. Then when you already know how to do it, then you can standardize a lot of things. You can delegate down to your people whom you can actually trust, because they have been with you. Then they know your style, they know how you do. So you delegate. When you delegate down, you become very efficient. Like last time, I remember 1989. Give me a minute. Oh, never mind, it's okay. The call off already. In 1989, I remember, I was working in this statutory body, actually. It was a madhouse, they said. It was a madhouse. They say you put 10 engineers there also, the work cannot finish. Because the whole of the university and its branch campus, everything, I like the only technical head there, power saw, power high. Everything was under me. Maintenance, development, operation, property, everything. So all this actually need a lot of manpower. But when I went in there, I realized they were having the same manpower as the 1960s and 70s. Some of the what they call the actually the job vacancy were not filled. So just imagine the 60s and the 70s type of manpower, and the university has grown for the last, that time was 30 over years. So 30 over years, I think almost 40 years. Your manpower is still the same, no? So actually impossible to manage. Then I went in, I realized there was no proper, what they call it the master plan, where you record all your infrastructure, your whatever maintenance thing and all those things, as built drawings. Hardly any. They were all either missing or they just have construction drawing or contract drawing. And there was no record, nobody looking at all these things. Then how the organization is supposed to work, nobody knows. Then finally, when they don't have engineer for quite a while, I think, they put a TA in charge, it becomes worse. Then in between, they put in a registrar, the arts student, they call it the administrative people, to come and administer the technical division. It created a big mess. But for me, I went in, I saw, I didn't complain. I take 1 month to come to summarize all this, then I know they will call me in because they want to know what is going on and how I can turn it around. They actually gave me 3 to 6 months actually, but it was a permanent job. So they want to know whether I can handle it or not. Then there were a lot of betting, I remember that time, because the predecessor before me, about 4 or 5 of them, none of them last more than 3 months. Some came within a week, disappear. The longest one stayed 3 months, I was told. Then they were betting. The odds were very high that I will never stay more than 3 months. Maximum they give 6 months, but I end up 6 years there. So a lot of things really become very different when, because at that time I had the Dhamma already. Then I was able to standardize a lot of things, then actually clear up a lot of things. So I standardize and simplify a lot of the workflow. Then I map out the whole organization map, where they don't have a proper one. I had to draw my own one and fit it in with the university. Then I went and tell them, with this, there is no way you can run. I need changes. That's why I wrote a paper, put in the proposal, and they approve it. There and then they approve it. Well, within that 1 month, I cleared so many things to go. All the major ones, like I say, all the emergency urgent one, I wrote them out. Then I make it a point. Every day I clear, every day I clear. And within that first month, I cleared so many things. And the guy who was following me, the admin floor, the registrar, he was so happy. He told the boss, he said, this engineer is very good, very efficient. He do things differently. He understands the problem. That's how I resolve it. Then the whole thing turned around. Then finally, I get the whole manpower expanded. Then it become like very well established because the system already smoothed out. Then all the teething problem resolved. Then whatever that need to be attended to, I was able to resolve it. I introduced a lot of new things. So this is how the Dhamma can actually help us to become very different. And we can really, really make a big difference to an organization, to our company that we work for. That's why for you, everywhere you go, your management, your bosses will be very happy with your performance because we can deliver, we can do things differently. That's why everywhere I went to in my career path, whoever had the condition to hire me, they benefited so much. Even the last job also, after I left, my boss, the managing director, he has to hire 6 more engineers together with him, 7 to take over what I did. That's why he was worried when I put in my resignation. He talked to me, he said, "You are so young, why you want to retire so early?" I said, "Never mind, my daughter already graduated, little burden, simple life. Why do you want to work for so long? Simple life." And then I finally say, "Okay, the maximum I can help is I give you 6 months notice instead of 3 months." So finally, I gave them 6 months notice. That's how I actually retired. And that was already 20 years ago. I think the year 2001. 2001 May, Labor Day, the end of the year, I actually retired. So it was beautiful. So Colin, you can rest assured wherever you go, you will be very well appreciated by the management and your boss.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, yeah, sadhu. Yeah,
but
you
I would like to also take this opportunity to thank you and grateful to all the fellow Kayamitas who has actually made this recording and Zoom possible.
Yeah.
Or else, I think it's so accessible for
very true
and connect.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for all the team.
Yeah. So we should all rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. That's why Kalyanamittas are beautiful people. They really help each other, motivate, counsel, and share whatever for the good of the many. And they all have their own understanding, cultivation, and they actually see the beauty of the Dhamma. And in many ways, all Kayamitta benefited, although some may benefit more, some less. But no matter how, I realize they are all much happier. Their life improve. They become very different. Their character, their personality, they can see themselves more clearly. And they treat each other very well, even among parents and children. I realize very different. You look at Tammy and Karen, they are so close now, so much understanding now. So many of the Kalyanamitta, I realize their relationship with their spouse also improve a lot. With their siblings, improve a lot. With their parents, improve a lot. And those who can see, can understand, they came and thanked me. And not only that, the spouse came and thanked me. He said, "Relative, thank you so much." I said, "Why?" He said, "Luckily you got you with it. Otherwise, we won't have this type of harmony and good relationship and all those things." There was one Kalyanamitta, the wife told me, he said the husband now has become so understanding and so different. Then he even told the husband, "I think it's good. You better go to Brother Theo there more often." Whereas other people, they don't like their husband to do things like go to this religious thing without them understanding. But I realized a lot of them, they become very happy. That's why when they mention attending Brother Theo's class, wow, they're very happy. They say, go. Good for you. So all this, you can witness and you can really see how Dhamma can actually transform living beings suffering and make the world a better place. It will actually help purify the consciousness of mankind. That's why now, with these limited numbers of Kalyamittas, we already have such effect. In fact, our virtue and our cultivation can make a big difference. That's why when we share merit, transfer merit, it has its effect. So far, a lot of people can feel, they know that this force is different. So do have faith and continue to cultivate diligently. Then develop the understanding. You will reap the fruit. Then the wonderful Dhamma will unfold. And you will make you all beautiful. So let us look forward to the year, to next year, to be a better year for all Kalyanamitas. And hopefully the pandemic will become more manageable. And hopefully our recent flood problem also will ease. And people can get back their life and go back to normality again. So we do share our blessings to the nation, to people around the world who have problems. So let us radiate more love, more compassion, more kind thoughts to all these suffering sentient beings, and evoke blessing for the nation, for the world, for humanity, and all. In fact, the environment also need to be healed, the pollution and all these things. So hopefully a lot of nature's condition can improve based on whatever little contribution we may have. That's why I radiate more and more love, more and more kind thoughts, beautiful thoughts. Have love, have joy, have peace. Then radiate all this for the well-being and happiness of all. And wishing all beings well and happy. May love and compassion pervade the whole planet. And may all beings be well, happy, and peaceful always. May there be love, may there be peace, and may there be joy deep within their hearts. So beautiful, Sadhu. Okay, Colin, anything else?
That's all, Brother Teo. That's all I want to share.
Sadhu. Okay.
And
yes.
Yeah, that's the last one. I think the biggest benefit that I have gained so far is the Dharma has helped me with the right view, bring me out of depression, which I was in a long time.
It's very true.
Or else I wouldn't be able to live. So thank you so much to all. Thank you so much to Brother Teo and Mrs. Teo.
Sadhu. Let us rejoice. Sadhu. Okay, thank you so much, Colin. Okay, then before we open up for fellowship, maybe I just remind all Kalyanamitas, like I have shared last Tuesday, we all should help Pamasuri and Brother Teo's daughter, Sister Minjun. It seems she was admitted to the hospital in Shanghai for study. So she already scheduled, I think I was told by Pamasuri and Brother Teo, surgery tomorrow. So let us radiate our love and metta, invoke power of marriage too. Then like yesterday, I have already sent all the POV recited with you all, transfer and share our merits for her well-being, so that she can recover to good health, good mind states, and have a smooth and very fast, efficient surgery done by good doctors and nurses and others who are involved in taking care of her. So with that, we can now maybe open up for fellowship. Okay, you can just come in if you want to. Yes, Pamasuri, yes, Sadhu.
Good evening, Brother Teo, Mrs. Teo, and all fellow Kalyanamitas. And I thank you, Brother Teo, and all fellow Kalyanamitas for the metta that you sent to Minjun Tuesday. So she's calm at this moment.
Oh, good. Sadhu.
Her surgery is scheduled to be tomorrow 1 to 2 o'clock.
Oh, okay. We will take note of that. Yeah.
We will humbly request all Kayamitas, because we can't do anything as parents.
Yeah.
Moment we can't do anything to attend, to be there.
Yeah, because of the quarantine.
Pandemic, yes, because of the pandemic and flight is very difficult to get a
very
flight.
difficult, yes.
Very,
but don't worry,
very,
yeah, we do from here is equally effective and very good. But you must arrange for people to look after her over there.
Yeah, all being arranged.
Oh, sadhu, sadhu.
All being arranged, even the nurse that taking care of her 24 hours.
Oh, sadhu. On
He's there already. They are checked, and then they went through the PCR, everything.
Oh, sadhu, very good.
All standby. So
very good. Sadhu.
Just what we need to do, you and I need to do is just that tomorrow we have to stay calm.
Yeah.
And hopefully pray that, send metta that all
no problem.
There will be favorable condition.
Outcome.
Surgery to be smooth.
Yeah.
And without any complication.
Yes.
She can recover fast.
Sadhu, sadhu. Very good.
So we have been doing asking for forgiveness, chanting
on her behalf. Yes.
On her behalf, yes. On her behalf.
Then do what you need to do as parents. Then invoke power merits, because you and Brother Theo has a lot of merits, and you all can invoke power merits for her well-being and happiness. Myself too, I invoke quite a lot of your power merits, and even Ming Yun, she has offered me certain things to do in the early days before she went off to Shanghai to study. Off and on when we meet. She is a very cheerful lady. Young, energetic, believe in what she wants to do to help humanity, mankind. That's why she studied TCM.
Actually, just now I just had a conversation with her.
Oh, sadhu.
It's very weird. She started asking for forgiveness. I have been asking her to do it.
Oh, sadhu.
On Wednesday, then Thursday the pain came already. So she understands that this is the thing that she has to pay back.
Yeah. It's coming. No problem. Yeah.
She's calm. She's very calm now, but she needs support.
Definitely, yeah. You tell her, don't worry. The whole Kayamita force will be there. If she can hear this.
The support there also very good.
Yeah, sadhu. Yeah, because of her character and all those things, because the lecturer, the people there, I think they know your daughter is very cheerful, very nice, and has good,
and she's very helpful.
Very helpful. Has good character and all those things.
Just recently, I think 2-3 weeks ago, she helped to treat one of her lecturers' backache.
Oh, sadhu! Wow.
My nephew told me, and the lecturer was very happy.
Oh, sadhu! Wow, that's very good. At such young age.
She needs support.
Definitely.
She needs to go through this hurdle.
Yeah. Very, very good, sadhu. So I will try to get Hsuan to write to the Kayamitas.
But Bharatus, she's not in that group. Will it cause any inconvenience to the group?
No problem, because you are the parents. You are the parents, and Brother Theo and you has been helping the Kayamita a lot. So this is your daughter. No problem. We will send it out, just like Jiwei, for the son and all those things at that time. We will send it out. I hope Hsuan can hear this and help to send out. But I will call Hsuan after this.
You, Bharatus.
Yes, I do.
We are very grateful for Bharatu's advice and guidance.
Yeah, I do.
This one.
Very, very useful, the Dharma, especially in time of need.
Yes, otherwise we won't be like this calm.
when you go through,
just
you
go
must have
through,
the
just
Dhamma.
go through to do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, these are reality of life and existence. Like I said, everyone has to go through. And when you go through, you become stronger. You understand the Dhamma more deeply. Then for your daughter, she is still young, no problem. And when she pull through this, she will have better understanding of what the patient go through when they are in the situation of like serious, critical, whatever sickness or disease that people go through. But for your daughter's case, I think it's not really that serious, except it's quite normal for ladies to go through this abdominal pain and all these things. I believe she will recover beautifully. So have faith. Sadhu. Okay, so I think if that is the case, we can actually have a few minutes of silence. Can we all now have 3 minutes of silence to radiate love and metta to Sister Minjun, so that she can have a good, safe, and very amicable surgery, which can lead to fast recovery, safe and efficient surgery by good doctors and others. Then we radiate love and metta to her now, so that she can recover to good health as soon as possible. Okay, I will ring the bell after 3 minutes. Now I will set the alarm. Okay, you can start your metta now. Okay. Thank you so much for helping out. So really I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So let us rejoice one more time. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may these well wishes and metta help pave the way for Sister Minjun to have good mind state, recover to good health, and get back her whatever life to be with her career again and meet up with her parents later on. So, sadhu, thank you. So with this, we will end the Zoom, today's sharing. So tomorrow, remember, the surgery is scheduled 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So hopefully our Kayamittas can help out. Thank you, sadhu. You all can help pass the message around too. Thank you, sadhu.